Yeah.
Now we're going.
Yeah.
Hey, everybody.
Welcome back to your favorite podcast, the PDT podcast.
The PDT one.
The People Don't Talk podcast.
The PP. We've done PP so many times. It's just
Pediatric Development
Task Force.
Yeah.
Podcast where we don't talk and we sit here in silence. Anyway,
All right.
That was
Like a clown noise. I can smell my feet from right here.
speaking of clowns,
Can you
Swell.
smell your feet?
I
my
am
feet.
wearing shoes.
No.
Okay,
As long as nobody else can smell my feet.
I heard in Lawrence,
I don't know.
people have been going around tying those red balloons to like drainage crates.
Nah, I didn't know.
From the
we
movie
did.
IT.
Yeah.
See, new bug.
And the Lawrence police were like, hey, come on, don't do this. We dealt with clowns last year. We're not doing it again.
I still think that clown phenomenon was like the greatest like promotional precursor
started
to a
that way.
movie.
And then it was drunk people.
From what, right? I'm pretty sure it started that way with like the first couple, where it was right when they announced that they were going to do a reboot or a
Yeah.
remake of it,
Yeah.
and then people were like, "What if we just dressed up as clowns and like scared people?"
Did the scary thing.
Then you had drunk frat
Right.
guys sitting in a bush with like a clown nose
Right,
with their face painted white. And that was it.
right.
Could have been a juggalo.
They really phoned it in.
Hell yeah.
It's not that
yeah.
kind of face paint. It's just white, not all the designs that come with being a juggalo.
How do
Fine.
I know this?
Idiot. No.
Fine.
Don't fart. Come on.
This is my room. Stop.
All right.
Yeah! That was legitness. Yeah, it was. Huh?
Some say potato, some say fart in the area of the microphone.
If you are listening and you want to, and you have an opinion of what kind of podcast we should be, let us know. Email us at pdtpodcast@gmail.com.
Yeah, we don't have any direction, I don't think. Or do we?
No.
General news stories, sports stories, just what goes on in life,
Right.
and then random bits that we find funny.
Yeah.
If people would start emailing us with their topics, things like that they want us to talk about, it'll be an audience-driven podcast, which
Yeah.
would be great,
I would love
because
that.
there's very few of those I've found.
Yeah.
I would like to become an audience-driven podcast because, like I said, there's very few of those, and it leaves a lot of diversity options for every
Talking
possible.
about all kinds of things.
Yeah.
That sounds great. So,
So like
yeah.
you said, email pdtpodcast@gmail if you have topics you want us to talk us about, funny stories you'd like us to tell for you.
Dramatic readings, or
You make a fake sponsor you'd want us to read.
yeah, we can do that. Though all of our previous sponsors have been real, if you want us to do a fake one, then we can do that. If you have a story, like a news story that either you want us to talk about in a serious manner or in like a less serious manner, to just talk about like some crazy thing that a guy from Florida did,
Yeah.
then yeah.
Either email the podcast or tweet at our Twitter account for the PDT podcast.
Which is at PDT Podcast. That's
Yeah.
it. That's the
that was actually an accident.
tweet. Yeah.
There we go.
to do that. That was yeah. So, with that taken care of, does anyone have a story from the week? I guess not.
Debating if it's something that should be discussed on a podcast or not.
Graham just got back from a trip like 2 days ago.
Yeah.
So you may not have a specific story, but tell us how it was.
Yeah.
It was great.
All right.
Not to
Next
say that
topic.
Thank you for listening to the PDT podcast.
It's been a great time.
And here's Wonderwall.
No, it was really good. Went to Virginia.
How's Virginia?
It was really nice. We stayed at my friend Erin's lake house. She does this every year for her birthday. Her folks own a lake house, and she invites like 15, 20 people over. And we just partied for the weekend. It was really, really fun. We played a game called Bodies, Bodies, Bodies.
Sounds like the game of a crazy person.
It's a lot like What did
Jenga.
Abby call it?
Jenga? Chess. Cards Against Humanity.
Cards Against Humanity. It's like, no, it's not at all like that. It's like playing Mafia, the card game, but
Real guns.
but
You
no,
actually kill
but you're
people.
all like creeping around in pitch black darkness. So there are
Bodies.
There's lots of bodies when you're done.
people kill each other.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so what you do, you divvy out the cards. In our case, there were like 8 civilians and 3 murderers.
Okay.
And so the whole point of the game
Not good.
is for the civilians to figure out who the murderers are, vote them to be killed, and
Then
then
they're the murderers.
then that's how they win, and then the murderers win by outnumbering the civilians.
And how do the murderers kill people?
So the lights shut off,
actually
right?
killing them.
And you black out the windows as much as you
Right.
can. Everybody kind of dresses up in black. We got really into it. And so you're
Blackface.
blackface. We put on blackface. We didn't actually do that.
Good. Good call.
But anyway, so we're creeping around in the dark, and the murderers have to
Respectful blackface.
they kill people by either waiting around a corner or sneaking up on somebody and actually raking their fingers across their throat.
Oh, that's really weird.
It's great. It's amazing.
Sounds like a game that I would enjoy until someone touched me, and then I would be like, I'm done. I don't
out.
have human
Pass.
contact.
I'm a murderer. I mean, I'm dead.
I'm dead. I'm dead. And so when you get
murdered
murdered,
murderer.
you just have to lay down on the ground. You can't say anything. Yeah, I mean there can be the struggle beforehand, but as soon as they rake their fingers across your neck, then you're
you
dead.
are doomed to death.
You're a
And
real
so
dead boy.
sometimes other civilians will hear it happen and they will be alerted, in which case they can come investigate the area, which is dangerous because then the killer could kill them. Or they could just, go find a body. And so that's when the round ends, is when somebody finds a body and yells bodies, 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 and then everybody stops and the lights come on. And then you get a body count. It's like, okay, this one's here. And then everybody gathers up and is like, okay, I'm pretty sure I saw the silhouette of a small woman who just killed this person.
And then you look around
And you look around, and there's like, and you're like, oh,
Oh no, he's actually dead.
hey man, game's over.
but there, everybody,
go home.
but everybody sort of presents their evidence, and everybody sort of deliberates, and eventually people vote on who to kill in the round.
Right.
It sounds like a kind of game that if our friend group played it, we wouldn't talk for a week and a half.
It's
Yeah.
possible.
Yeah.
There was one guy that got really mad
Sweet.
during the game.
Was it you?
No, it wasn't me.
Okay.
I had a great time. I always have a great time playing this game. But yeah, it's just like a mix between like Mafia and hide and seek in the dark, and
Do you and your friends fake murder a lot, Graham?
yeah, in the past we have. It's a lot of fun.
I'm going to keep that information locked away.
Seems like practice.
Okay, so I also played this amazing board game that I'd never played
It's
before
called
there.
Secret Hitler.
No, but that sounds dope.
It's the real one.
Nice. It's
gotta
called
look it up.
Betrayal at the House on the Hill, and it's actually kind of like
Classic
D&D.
Bah. Betrayal
Oh.
at the House on the hill.
Bah.
Actually, it'd be Bath.
Bath. Classic Bath.
Everyone's favorite board game, bath. It's where you put a board in a bath.
It sort of operates like D&D light, but you pretty much start by exploring this haunted house,
Right.
and you get to you have certain attributes. You have like a strength, sanity,
Right.
will, speed meter that you have to keep track of, and you're exploring these different rooms. Like you have to go to unravel. Well, unravel. I said unravel, to figure out the layout of the house. And the layout of the house is different every time. But eventually, something happens called a haunt, which a certain sequence of events has to line up, and then the haunt happens, and one of the people in your group becomes a monster or ghost or murderer or something, and you have like 20 or 30 different scenarios, which you open up a book.
Oh, nice.
And it's like, okay, this is your particular haunt. This is what happens. The person that became the monster has this certain set of things that they're trying to do.
Oh, that's cool.
And the other group of people has this certain set of things that they have to try and do. And it's amazing, and I bought it. So we're going to play it. Maybe this weekend.
I was looking at prices while you were telling the story.
Yeah.
It looked really good when I looked it up.
It's a fun game,
I don't
man.
have
It's
an addiction
amazing.
to buying board games. You have an addiction to buying board games.
Right. I think just we as a collective group have a problem.
This is an intervention for ourselves.
But that's a great
If you'd
game
like
that
to
I played
intervene on our behalf.
Right.
Email us.
Email us at pdtpodcast@gmail.com. So we'll play that this weekend.
Sweet. We'll tell you how it goes.
Maybe.
Yeah. We also played the most complicated game I've ever played called
Euphoria, Build a Better Oppressor.
No.
Oh.
That's just the most infuriating game ever. No, Euphoria was fine.
It was.
But it was a game called, oh shit, it was like Quest for the Galaxy or something like
Oh, yeah,
that.
I've heard of it.
Oh, yeah.
You world build.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was beginning to get it and get into it, and then everybody like got up and got another drink, and then John had to go to the bathroom, and then when he came back, he started playing dice with another group of people, and it just stopped. Like we stopped playing.
Yeah, it's usually how it goes. When
but it
people
was fun.
start getting up to like get a drink or
Yeah.
something, it usually
Yeah.
continues after that.
It's one
It's
of
like our
these
podcast.
We have a rule:
Right.
if people get up to go to like get a drink, we consider not putting the episode up.
Yeah. Yes, actually.
Which is fair.
Right.
But that game was a lot of fun.
Sweet.
I didn't finish it. Very
Well,
complicated.
Did you buy it?
No, did not
Okay.
buy it.
Good.
Dude, Betrayal was like... Well, actually, I guess it's not that bad in the grand scheme of things, because it's a pretty involved game.
Betrayal.
It was like $32 or something like that. But they do have other expansions, I believe.
There are a lot of those kind of games out. Ones where it's sort of like D&D light, like you said.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought about when we were gonna get into D&D, just buying one and then learning through that. But I was like, why would I make it easy on myself? And then I just created everything.
And you're still sitting on that, and we're still gonna do it. But we just have to play Betrayal first
Yeah.
to get us back into the swing of things,
Okay.
or something.
Or the other campaigns that have made D&D light that other people
Right.
have created that never happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that too. I haven't created a
There's
campaign
a lot
yet.
of heartbreak at this table.
There's a lot of board game.
There's a lot of time.
Hurt
spent
feelings.
invested.
Yeah. Anyway,
Anyway,
so let's talk about.
Let's cut the hurt feelings out.
Yeah. Glad your trip was good.
yeah,
It sounds great.
A+. Look forward to playing those games.
yeah.
You have anything happen this week?
Nope, I'm still waiting on my job to start, which is the Monday after next. So I'm sure I will have plenty of stories about that
Yeah.
when it happens.
It sounds interesting in the way that new jobs are always interesting, so it's a new swing like of how your life is going. But
Right.
also I think it's more exciting that it's not your other job.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think
really
that's where
is.
a lot
That's
of
a
the
big
excitement
plus.
comes from for all of us. It's like, hey, Torn got a job that he's probably not going to despise.
Right.
Yeah.
It's sort of bittersweet because my current job, like I owe a lot to my current job.
Yeah.
Like I feel very loyal to my current job. Even when my boss was like, "Hey, haha, any chance you want to work part-time for us while you're working your other job?" And I was like,
You considered it a little bit because you're a little bit loyal.
I mean, it doesn't start until the 18th. And she was like, "Oh, great. You want to work Mondays?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure."
You've been working Mondays?
I've been working Mondays.
Wow.
Except it's only been one Monday because last Monday was Labor Day. And I hope I
Yeah.
wasn't supposed to come in because I didn't go in. So,
Yeah.
but
Well, what are they gonna do? Fire you?
realistically, no.
You show in and you've got just like a stench of alcohol. They're like, you're fired. You're like, peace.
Later.
Thank God. Right.
Yeah.
I mean, realistically,
I feel that. It's always like the kind of rose-colored glasses sort of thing, where it's not necessarily like
You
it's just
love it.
you begin realizing all the good things about your job.
Right.
That's how it was for me when I was like, I was half a bad day away from quitting my job because I'd had a string of like 8 straight days where I had someone yell at me, and I'm like, I deserve better than this. This is bad for my mental health.
And then you looked
And then
back,
and then I walked in, and they went, "Hey, we're having a thing where every pair of these shoes you sell, you get $8." And I was like, well, damn, I should stay.
Did you say
Staying for that.
$8? Okay.
Multiplied by God knows
Like
how
the 9
many.
I sold that day,
Yeah,
yeah, it
that's
felt
awesome.
great.
2. Was it one pair or
Each pair was $8
per shoe? Darn it.
Yeah,
If you sell one shoe, it's 8. If you sell 2, it's 16.
Hell yeah.
yeah.
It's
Yeah, and I
9.
stayed at my job, and I was when I was talking to people there, I was like, I'm thinking I might end up leaving sometime in the future because I'm taking more hours in college, looking to take probably more the next semester, things like that. And then Sean went, do you just want to work Saturdays? And I went, yes.
Yeah, actually, that'd be.
And then
Yes.
Why did I say yes?
And then he was discussing with me when I get out of college what I plan on doing, and I was like, looking for another job.
Yeah.
And he was like, yeah.
I mean, I
And then he was trying to convince me, because we had another guy in the company offer me a job at one of their corporate offices when I'm done with college, because they're aware of how bad the marketing is at their company. And I was like, that's interesting. He's like, we'll pay for relocation. I'm like, go on. And they're like, we'll pay this much. Go on. And they're like, it's on the east and west coast. And I went, damn. So I know I've got that to look forward to, making decisions like that. If I stay unemployed too long, I'll go, hey, I don't want to relocate.
Can I have a job?
Did
Yeah.
somebody say sell shoes?
Yeah. But yeah.
So, yeah, cool.
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 But yeah.
Cool. Cool.
Cool.
But yeah.
Cool. So, yeah.
Cool. 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 Cool.
Yeah. 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 So we have a topic that we can talk about, or we can talk about. Should we talk about sports real quick? We'll talk about
do
sports real
sports.
quick.
Let's phone a friend.
Phone a friend.
Should we phone a friend?
Use
wanna
someone
phone a
else's
friend?
phone.
Do you want to
My phone's low on
introduce?
battery.
Do you want to introduce the
topic
The
first?
topic first?
Sure. I'll go for it. So the NFL is starting up. If you're unaware, get out from under a rock. The NFL is starting. By the time this is out, the NFL
For those
will
of
have
us
started.
who may not know, what's the NFL?
It's a sport where they throw a ball around on a field and score points.
No, they throw a pig around in a spiral
Yeah.
on a field
They throw a slab of bacon
to
around
men,
to other guys with large hands.
and then when they
Mazel
get
tov.
touched, they go down.
Anyway,
Each other?
Yes, it's a strange game. I don't know how they televise it.
Sounds very.
that's why they get a
Greek.
bye week. Anyway, so also if you don't know what's going on, the weather is crazy if you're anywhere south of Kansas.
Oh
Yeah, pretty much. Actually,
my folks live in Jacksonville, Florida.
Yeah,
and
Are they evacuating?
No, I think they're kind of waiting and seeing. I just want them to come up here.
Hey, tell them we've got a place to stay.
Yeah.
I'll let them stay in our house, and my parents will find out when they get here.
Yeah, your parents are. They're
Susan,
like,
Kevin,
oh hey,
what are you doing
Don't
here?
be like really happy. Be like,
what a surprise!
we're unprepared.
It's great to have you.
My dad comes back from work on Friday and is like, oh, wow.
Oh, hey, Kevin.
Anyway, for what's going on in the NFL, Miami and I believe the Buccaneers, correct me if I'm wrong,
Yeah.
are supposed to play this Sunday.
They were supposed to.
Yes.
Right.
But because of the impending
Doom.
doom that is Hurricane whatever it is. Irma.
Right.
The NFL, meaning Roger Goodell, decided
Yeah.
that they're not going to play that week. And they're going to
Because
play...
Roger Goodell is the Antichrist.
He might actually be.
See, I like to think I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt here and saying, like, well, he wouldn't want people to have their tickets wasted by not, going.
End of list of good defense.
But realistically, it's well, we're not going to have them play because no one's going to show up, which means we're not going to make money.
Yeah, and so he decided that they'll move this game to week 11, which is both of those. I think it's week 11 or 10, whatever
Yeah, I
their
think
bye
it's
weeks
11,
were.
11. Yeah.
Which at first you're like, oh, okay. But then you look and you go, oh, wait, that means their bye weeks are week 1, and they play 16 straight weeks of football.
Yeah, no other team has to do that.
Yes.
Yup.
Also, poor Miami Dolphins team plays in London 1 week.
Yeah.
And then they had a bye week so they could recover.
Yeah.
Now they play in London, fly back, and congrats, you get no recovery time.
Your bye week is gone.
It's a Thursday night game, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's London on Monday, I think.
Sunday or Monday, either way.
London on Sunday or Monday, and then not even a full week before they're playing again.
Yeah, it's absurd.
Yeah.
The alternative option, which is what most NFL fans and basic humans would want, is why don't we relocate this game to one of the other 15 open fields?
Right.
Because every game's an away game, so there's an open field somewhere. And then you sell the tickets at half price, which hurts. And then why don't we take that money that we generate and then give it to like people to help recover from like various hurricanes
That have happened.
Yes. And I understand Roger Goodell would rather shoot himself in the face
Than be
with
generous.
money, or be generous, or show any side of humanity. But come on.
Yeah, that'd be great. I like that idea a lot.
Yeah, Roger Goodell
but
shooting
that's
himself in the face is ideal.
far
Yeah, definitely.
Far too selfless.
I also heard it posed that like they could play in the Tampa Bay Rays stadium.
Yeah,
that would work.
because
Also
it's
possible.
it's hurricane proof. Like
Right.
it's
Yes.
enclosed.
Yeah. The issue is that no one would come.
Because
Right.
I would.
Because the Tampa Bay Stadium is a trash heap.
Right.
Yeah, that
but-
too.
Among there
Among
being
other things.
the hurricanes
Right,
going on.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah, but I mean,
You could
I
still
just
have the
don't
game.
think like
You could move it to Missouri.
I feel like I would have given the teams the option. Like I would have been like, okay,
Let
we
the
could
owners and GMs
we could
decide.
have you like skip your bye. Like this is your bye week now. Week 1, week 11 comes by. You want a bye week, you're not going to have it, or we can relocate. And sorry, Dolphins, you lose home field advantage, but you do get to have your bye later.
Yeah, and they could have gone somewhere
pick the
like-
best of the shitty situation.
And they really could have gone to name almost any city, because any
Right.
city would go, you want to come to our stadium where we can make money while we're
Right.
playing somewhere else?
Oh, we didn't think we were gonna have football this week, and we get football.
We'll let you stay in our stadium and we'll generate profits. Every team would do it, and they do it for cheap because a little money is better than no money.
Right.
So they could have been like, we'll go to Kansas City, we'll go to San Francisco, New
be great.
York, name a place. Like,
Yeah.
there's at least 15 open stadiums.
Yeah.
So they could have gone anywhere.
So we have we brought on a brand new sports correspondent.
He actually works at a radio station in town
Yeah.
called 610 that does sports.
Yes. So
He's legit.
We're gonna give him a call real quick
That was legitness.
and see what he thinks on the topic. Here you want to hold it up to the mic there.
Please pick it up.
Phone a friend.
Hello?
Hey, Austin, you're remember how we talked about you being a sports correspondent on the PDT podcast?
Yeah, what's up?
Yeah, we want to know what you think about the Miami Tampa Bay bye week on week 1.
Oh.
Right now.
Yeah.
Just quick. It doesn't.
Okay.
Rapid fire, come on.
Quick.
Miami,
Alright,
Tampa
well,
Bay.
I think they kind of screwed up. They should have. If the NFL's worried about player safety, which is one thing that they've been big on, they really screwed up on this move, because the Miami Dolphins and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are going to be playing what's the number? I think
16.
they're playing about 10 straight weeks of football.
Yeah.
No bye week, and actually 16. They'll be
Yeah, it's
playing
just 16.
without any bye week. And if they want to keep preaching that they're all about concussion protocol and keeping players safe, this is totally just a total rip off, and it's just not good for the NFL look-wise. I think what they should have done was that they should have played the game Sunday or even tomorrow at a neutral site. And I can't remember the line, and there was an offensive lineman that I retweeted on my Twitter who came up with a good idea, was to have that game on an off-site location, and all of the tickets that they sold and all the money that they got from that game would be donated to the hurricane relief.
Yeah, that would have been amazing.
Really
No,
great.
that's stupid. What are you doing? Why would the NFL give money? The NFL's a business.
Well, I mean, Roger Goodell he's a piece of work.
Yeah,
I
great.
I do think that they screwed this up. I think it was smart to cancel the game on Sunday, but I think it was a bad call to put it in week 11 and not give either team a bye week.
yeah. They
When
really
they
gave me some
creeped
extra
out
work on my
player
fantasy
safety,
team. It's a real
and
pain.
when they could have just put it at a alternate location.
Totally. Well, Austin, I have to say, that was a really professional answer. And
He hung up.
Bye, Austin.
what the?
Either he hung up or we dropped the call.
What happened?
Anyway, thanks, Austin. Thanks, Austin. We'll call you again.
Text him. Let him know.
Yeah.
Like that was actually really good.
Yeah.
I'm kind of impressed.
From now on, anytime we're going to talk about sports, we're going to call
We're just
Austin
gonna
about
call
it.
Austin, yeah.
Whether we're talking about something as trivial as, oh man, Odell Beckham rolled his ankle. Let's see what Austin has to
see
say.
what Austin says.
He's like, he did what?
Oh, you rolled his ankle? Oh, that sucks. All right, thanks,
what do you
Austin.
have to say about,
Thanks, Austin.
What did you say about Jake Butt getting a sponsorship from Charmin?
By the hammer of Thor!
He just texted if he needs to call back.
Yes.
Wait, so what did he hang up? Just
No,
like,
I think my phone just dropped the call.
well, that was like really good timing.
Yeah, it
he
was.
was like done with the thought.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do I need to call back?
Let him know he got a 9.5 out of 10. Right?
Yeah, dude. Seriously, like, tell him
Phone
good
guess.
freaking job. I don't think that if I was just called up by a friend of mine that never really calls, well, I guess you might call him sometime. I was thinking I called him. I don't ever call Austin, but he was
great.
I feel like he rolled with that really well, really
He
quick.
handled it like a pro.
Shout out,
boy.
Shout out to Austin Hall.
S/O to my boy Austin.
Shout out to the boy Austin. He's a real
Skinny
professional
penis.
boy.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry, ladies, he's taken.
Yeah, he's
is.
engaged. That's his text tone for Austin. The hammer of Thor.
Oh, that's great.
All right. Well,
Well, that was great.
are there more sports topics or?
No, man. I think we should just leave it there. Like, I'm a big brag boy. All right.
Anyway,
What's up next?
what's going on now? You guys did research on stuff?
So
I did.
I didn't. Torin did, but I have
yeah.
some thoughts. If he
I don't know what
wants to
this
bring
topic
in his
is,
research.
so let's
do
introduce
thoughts.
it. Explain
So-
it to me, who probably doesn't know what it is.
The great. We had a question last week that sort of came up when we were talking about
Oh, yeah.
braggadocious cats
Yeah.
and racist dogs and all sorts of crazy stuff.
What animal is precocious?
Precocious? Definitely dogs.
Okay.
But anyway,
I don't know.
the question was the topic was sort of how human-like can animals be?
So, like, how much of it is them actually having those attributes, and how much of it is us projecting those traits
Right.
onto them?
Like how similar are animals to humans mentally?
Yeah.
And so I did some research, and they sort of break it down in a few different ways, but the two that I found the most interesting were like consciousness and knowledge.
Yeah.
And so they said when it came to knowledge, there are certain animals that are a lot smarter than others, and even like certain breeds of dogs are a lot smarter than others.
Sure. Corgis are low on the totem pole.
Corgis are pretty low.
They're pretty cute, but they're really stupid.
Corgis are super cute. Pretty dumb though.
Really stupid.
And border collies are one of the most intelligent dogs.
Yeah.
They did a study on one. I can't remember what his name was, but by the time the study ended, he could recognize 1,200 words.
That's amazing. Wow.
And
Oh, hold on, we're getting interference. That was it. Sorry.
It was my phone.
Yeah,
Sorry.
okay. It's all good.
So one of the tests was just but what was really sort of fascinating was parrots, or like parrot-like animals like macaws and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then apes. And so the thing with parrots is that there was a parrot named Alex who...
Hey, that's your name.
It is my name. And then he, on an intelligence and a consciousness level, was like incredibly high. He died at like 30, I think. But by the time he
Yeah,
died,
they live a long time.
that kind of bird usually lives to be like 60.
Oh, okay.
His brain was
He
too
died
powerful.
suddenly.
Oh.
But he recognized all sorts of words and could even speak them back, and even could create could speak creatively.
Yeah, like creative sentences almost.
Which is unique to almost any other animal. Because a lot of the animals, when they talk about knowledge and like word recognition, it's less that they know a word, or that they have a word and they recognize what it means, and they can they know what it means, and they know, and they will recognize it because just for the simple reason of recognizing it.
Yeah.
A lot of animals, when they recognize something, it's less about the actual meaning, and it's more about the stimulus that comes with it. So if it's
Right.
like, this is a ball, and if I say ball, then you go and get the ball and you bring it to me, and then they get a treat.
It's like
or
the
something.
reverse
It's like
way of,
they don't. Yeah.
the reverse way of how when we say sit, they don't sit, so they get like a treat.
Right.
It's
They
the
don't-
opposite side of it.
It's they don't know exactly. They more make associations with things,
Right.
as opposed
They don't
to knowing
really.
the actual meaning of it.
They like maybe that parrot or what did you say his name was? Alex.
Alex.
Understands like that words have like a sort of cloud. Well, not. He probably couldn't exactly think on this level, but he
Right.
has like an understanding that there's like a cloud of connotation around a certain word, and because of that, he can link words together. In a way.
They said that he had about the same level of consciousness as like a human 2-year-old.
That's dope.
Right, which
so
is
awesome.
Which I think at max there was a chimp that had the same level of like understanding as like a 4-year-old.
Wow.
But that was after a full lifetime of study.
Sure.
And it wasn't even, and it was less clear that it had the understanding that this parrot does, because a lot of it could have been that association.
Okay,
Is that
yeah.
like all they're doing is hearing the sounds of something and then repeating,
Right.
and basically doing a motion that is commanded. But the thing that I found really interesting with this parrot was that it was learning colors, and it was learning. It could like take an object like a cube, and it was blue, and it would be able to parse out the shape and the color and what it needs to do with it, stuff like
Nice.
that.
Yeah.
And at one point, it looked into a mirror and it said what color, and it pointed at itself in the mirror. And then it learned the word gray. And I'm like reading this on Wikipedia,
That's
and I was
awesome.
like, "You died too soon, buddy."
Oh,
man.
I'm really curious how far that intelligence and understanding could have gotten had he lived
Right.
past half his life.
And they said that they had 2 other birds doing like the same kind of project, but none of them showed the kind of ability that Alex did.
Yeah.
And like the amount of progress that this bird made was insane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so interesting, man.
Yeah, I've heard a lot about not just those 2 animals, A lot of deep sea animals tend to be a lot more intelligent and have more understanding.
I read a lot on dolphin. There's a test similar to that mirror I was talking about. There's a test of consciousness and awareness that they do where they basically, while an animal is asleep, they'll put like a mark on its face and show it a mirror. And if it goes to like clean the mark, then that shows that it's recognizing that it is looking at itself.
Yeah.
And that they have a mark that they recognize and that they don't recognize, and so they're trying to wipe it away. And a lot of animals don't pass this.
Yeah.
But dolphins and orca whales both pass.
So octopus.
And they didn't do it with an octopus because they don't know what like grooming an octopus looks like. And so if like you mark on its face, it's not really going to recognize.
Right.
Yeah.
But from what I understand in what I read is that they have no idea how intelligent octopi are.
It's really hard to measure because we don't understand them.
Right.
Some people measure them as very dumb. Some people measure them as very smart.
Well,
and it could be anywhere in the middle.
They said in what I read, they talked about how they're really good at like solving puzzles and like getting out of mazes and stuff like that, which is somewhat like that shows a level of intelligence, but because it's so hard to test and octopi are so hard to train, is that they can't really like is that if you put it in a cage, it's going to get out of the cage.
Yeah.
Like regardless of what kind of cage,
It sees it
it's
as
going
the
to find a way out.
puzzle and it's like,
right.
how am I gonna bust out?
But they said that dolphins and orca whales pass. A lot of apes pass.
Yeah, I think one of the first videos I saw on this sort of thing was that sort of test where they put it was like a red sticker or something on their head,
and they would
so
just be
some
like,
would look at it and like try and brush it off or whatever.
Right. And then the one that I found interesting was elephants.
Yeah.
Elephants typically recognize themselves in mirrors.
Yeah.
And they said that dogs don't, but there was a test I didn't have a chance to look up because I couldn't find a whole lot of information on it, but it's apparently like a smell recognition that dogs pass. And so they're saying...
So that's just a different sensory set of skills.
Right, and it's basically that this list of animals relies a lot on sight, and so it's going to have more recognition with sight.
Yeah.
But a dog that relies a lot on smell is going to have a different kind of recognition.
That's really, really interesting, and that's a really interesting problem, like, because we rely mostly on sight.
Right.
Like, that's the frame of reference that we've got for intelligence.
So we base a lot of our intelligence off of sight, where a dog would measure it off of things like smell or sound.
Right.
That's
and
crazy,
everyone would
man.
measure it differently. So it's hard to, like, measure intelligence and understanding when it's based off of how we would measure it.
Right, when really
Where
they're way better at it than we are.
A dog probably looks at us and goes,
Do you smell that?
Do you not realize
Yeah, they're
it's
like,
this house?
dude, there's a dead animal like a mile away from here. Can you not smell that right now?
They're like, how are you eating? This is disgusting. And so they would think we're stupid. Or I imagine a dolphin would look at us and go, it's cute, but it's real dumb.
Some of the stuff they've done with dolphins is sort of similar to the thing with the octopus, is that they know that there's a level of intelligence there.
Yeah.
And even like giving it a touchscreen keyboard, they start to make associations really well. Like there was a keyboard where if it pressed a certain like sequence of symbols, it was basically saying, I want a fish. And so
That's how they made
That's like the
fat
only
dolphin.
thing they say. Right. I
so it's
want
pretty
a
much
fish.
just bop, 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 bop. And then they're like, I want a fish. And I saw, it was a Wikipedia page that said that in particular. And they were like, yeah, the guy doing the test just ignored him. And I was like,
Oh, what a dick.
why? I guess it was sort of like, if it's going to start swearing with the keyboard, like, give me an effing fish, you effing... Right. But, I mean, yeah, I don't know.
That's so cool, man. Did both of you guys see Arrival?
Yes.
No. Okay.
I saw it with you, I'm pretty
You
sure.
did?
Or I saw it with Tom, I don't remember.
I can't remember either. But either way, that's like, I feel like that problem is really, like, explored really well in that film. Just like the idea, I mean, because really taking that to like a more expanded level, like there's a problem in communication and how we communicate with these animals or whatever, because like they could be, well, the dolphins and the sea creatures for sure, because like there's less, they rely less on sight than we do.
Sure.
And other senses, and it's like the beings from the other planet or whatever have this whole system of communication which like is completely foreign to anybody who doesn't understand like the root of kind of communication and stuff. And so it'd be interesting to have, I don't know who could look at that. In the movie they had a linguistics expert, but it's different because I don't know that animals necessarily have a language.
Well, the issue is that it's a high intelligence speaking to another high intelligence.
Right.
Though the aliens in that movie, what are they called? Decapods?
Decapods, that's
right.
it, yeah.
They are a much higher intelligence. Yeah. We are just a high intelligence.
Right.
And so
they're like the ones trying to get the dog to see the spot on its face.
It's basically actually, yeah, kind of. It's basically if dogs had like a pre-existing language that we in some way could perceive, and us trying to take that language and translate it into our language.
Right.
But the issue is that if dogs do have a language, it's very, I read a little bit on this today, it's very A, contextual, and B, sort of dynamic. Like we can say things when we say things like my cat died, something like that, we can say it, yeah, my cat died, and that's very sad. Or we can just say even my cat died, and there is no emotion. Or we can be like, my cat died.
And in that case, I've somehow perceived that you hated that cat.
Right.
Because you're really happy that it's dead.
And so there's in our language, we can add context, but there's still a base level of meaning that exists. Is that when we say my cat died and there's no expression of emotion, there's still meaning there. But our understanding with dogs is that there is no no emotion way of saying something. Everything that they say has emotion connected to it, and it comes from the inflection of how they're saying it.
Yeah, I've read a little bit about how dogs communicate, and it's really interesting. Where even when you see like you let a dog inside and it turns in a circle,
right,
which way they turn and at what angle makes a big difference. When they wag their tail, at what degree it wags makes a big difference.
I've heard that, yeah.
A dog looking at that gets a lot of information. We go, my dog turned in a circle and it wagged its tail. It's really happy.
Right.
And maybe it turns in a tail and it's like, thank God you let me inside.
Right.
There's
something dangerous out there.
Right. Yeah. Or it could just be like, we would look at it and be like, oh, cute. But it could just be like, no, this is normal. This is like what I do. I'm just merely perceiving things around.
It's like, I have no feeling about what just happened. I'm just like acknowledging that it happened.
Right. And they said that dogs, and the other part of this that I read a little bit on, not a lot, was sort of the morality of things and how animals treat morality. And Darwin was kind of the first guy to be like, yeah, animals show a level of morality. Like, animals will show emotion and feeling, because pretty much all the time before that they were like, animals are only instinctual and they will do anything that is instinctual, and that's it. But Darwin sort of studied animals and saw things like a cat sort of running against your leg with its body, like that's a sign of affection. Or a dog licking someone, that's usually a sign of welcoming them into the pack. It's sort of like a sign of affection in a way.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I saw was that cats are that a lot of animals that show altruism essentially are fairly unique. I read a story about a chimp who had fallen into a river, and another chimp, and chimps don't know how to swim, so water is like terrifying, right? Like they've done studies where it's like, how far can a chimp walk into water before it starts freaking out, and it's like knee level. And this chimp basically, this other chimp raced over when it heard the chimp screaming, and basically like stepped into the water to like get the other chimp out. And it's like,
he went against his instincts,
right?
Yeah.
Like, A, they're going to avoid water. B, this chimp is potentially a competitor. C, like, you can even make a case that, well, it was only saving this chimp so that the chimp would, return the favor at some point later. But even then, that's like that falls apart.
Some level of that, yeah.
Right.
I love that, all of that so much. Like there's like getting into the that's sort of getting into like so I read Mere Christianity
Sure.
while I was gone, and in that book Lewis talks about like the natural law of and that's like objective morality.
Right.
And in that time, like this is one of the really interesting things about that. Like I'd like to read some papers or something sort of updating some of the C.S. Lewis stuff, just because we understand a lot more about human psychology and even animal psychology now than he did then. But like the going against your instincts, like when you know that or when you think that you should, even if your body is telling you not to, or vice versa.
Right.
Like, that's really interesting.
The thing with Lewis, and I haven't read a lot on this, but Lewis at sort of like a foundational level gets a lot right. And so it's less about updating and like correcting and more just like building upon it.
Right.
And so
he's really like he creates really, really like logical base structures. It's cool.
I mean, that's very...
Are you
C.S.
looking
Lewis.
for a logical argument about Christianity?
Read Mere Christianity.
Yeah.
The first 10 pages is just him like starting at A and then giving all of the reasoning possible to get to B.
I went
pretty intensive.
Moving a little bit more towards that than about animals. I was required to read that book my senior year of high school because I went to a Christian high school. I wish they'd had us read part of that book every year. I got more out of that book in that Bible class while we read it than I did out of the other 12 years I was at that school. And I was like, hey, Mr. Teacher, you should have everyone read this book all 4 years of high school. Even if they don't understand it their freshman year, it means they'll better understand it their next year. Then by the senior year, you get really complex discussions. And he's like, that's a good idea. I'll have to see if that'll work. I'm of the opinion that probably everyone should read at least Mere Christianity and other
even
books.
if you just read like the first chapter of Mere Christianity,
a lot of it,
you get a really solid like logical reasoning for morality and like morality when it comes from a Christian perspective.
The man, it's so like I've been talking to a lot of people about C.S. Lewis since I sort of started reading him, and I kind of backtracked some to read Mere Christianity, but it's really interesting. Like I've always heard so many people talk about C.S. Lewis and stuff, and I hadn't read any of his like essays and sort of logical and philosophical works until this last year. And that's so like people are just like, oh yeah, C.S. Lewis is great, I love it, and in Christian circles, and it's like, man, have you read any of his like actual thoughts on stuff, or did you just read Chronicles of Narnia? Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that at all. But like, there's a huge like practical difference in application from like the fiction to his essays and stuff. His essays are like unbelievable.
It's like what you want to get out of it is the difference between, in the Bible they talk about having like when you're a little baby, you have milk, compared to when you're an adult.
And you
have like
food,
meat and food. C.S. Lewis's Narnia is like milk. Everything else is a full balanced, full course. Like
even
9-course meal.
Even like Screw Tape Letters. Screw Tape Letters. Have you read
It's been a long time. I read it in high school.
Like I wrote a paper on it, and it's really fascinating how it's still fiction, but it's such like a study into sin and temptation. But
I feel like our next podcast should just be about C.S. Lewis.
Oh boy,
I'll have to do a lot more research.
We don't have to read 5
books. Forgotten a lot.
What time are we at?
Time for one more thought, and then quick wrap
I was gonna go back to animals, so whatever.
What's your quick thought about animals?
Oh, nothing.
Okay. All right. So, what was the question from last week?
question from last week was, you are the ruler of a new country. What is the name of your country, and what 3 policies will you institute?
It's called Dilbyville. And
Shockingly close to mine.
Yeah.
really?
Mine was Dildopia.
Oh my god. Dildopia. Oh, that's good.
What policies are you putting in
Yeah.
place?
So
Name 3.
first policy, everybody has to name their first child Dilby. Obviously, whether it's a male or
That's
female.
rough. I'm down.
Yeah.
I'll live somewhere else, but I'm down
Yeah.
to visit your country. I'll be like, are you Dilby?
Visit.
Yeah, visit, not
2.
stay.
Everybody has to, on their 18th birthday, smoke a fat joint
With the Amish.
in Amish.
In Amish.
And see what their experience is. Joints are not illegal, but like in Dilbyville, nobody is like a jointer burnout, just because everybody does it recreationally, and it's fine. It just in Amish.
I don't think I want to visit anymore.
Wait, what?
So it sounds like Dilbyville is a place where everyone's named Dilby and everyone smokes pot.
Just occasionally. And it's
So
not
there's
pot,
no
it's
one-
joints.
There's no one who overuses
Hey,
doints. What happens if you overuse doints?
Get ejected from
Okay,
Dilbyville
that's fine.
in the ejector seat.
how would you measure overuse?
become a burnout.
If you're eating more than 1 bag of Doritos a day, it's bad news for
So
you.
if someone doesn't smoke weed at all, but likes Doritos,
I mean, it's just a fact of life that like the system is imperfect, and sometimes the innocent will suffer and be
Amen.
thrown out.
amen.
Probably for the best, but I
yeah.
mean, that's another matter.
If you're eating that many Doritos, you probably shouldn't be anyway. But
That's true.
anyway, my third piece of legislation is that Dilby is the forever ruler, even
Which Dilby?
Dilby the sidekick.
Which Dilby?
Oh, the original Dilby.
Oh, okay.
The OG Dilby. The
OG
founder
Dilby.
of Dilbyville.
Dilby. OG.
Yeah, Dilby OG. And even after his death, he will still be the ruler. So they don't have another ruler after his death. What they will do, people will just naturally sort of manipulate for power, because there constitutionally can't be another ruler, but they will find a way to rule. And Dilby wants to watch the chaos from heaven. There's a little booster seat up there.
So anytime a leader dies, they have to then overthrow the Constitution to elect a new leader.
I mean, there's only been one leader, but yes, if
real exciting
if somebody
real
else
quick in
wants to
Dilbyville,
lead, they have to stage a mass like coup.
I'm into that.
Dilbyville.
Yeah, that's fine.
Dilbyville.
I'd watch it from another country.
Welcome to Dilbyville.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna go with last year. It was Metal Gear Solid Sylvania.
Yeah. Last week.
Yeah. This week it's gonna be Reasonable Berg. My first act. Everyone's required to take 3 economics courses
Oh, nice.
because we're very reasonable.
Yeah, it's very reasonable.
I'd like. Yeah, you can fall asleep, but we're gonna be a very successful
we're gonna
country.
reason with your ass.
But we're going to be pretty successful. Number 2, I like to stray from being reasonable, because I'm a crazy dictator,
Wow.
as it would stand. And I'm going to go with something I used last week, where I'm going to have propaganda vans going around, just
Yes.
playing our podcast.
Yeah, just the PDT podcast.
And no one's allowed to make sound,
Right.
noise, play music, cry, weep, laugh, do anything. You have to listen.
If you're doing dishes and you happen to like clink those 2 dishes together,
Yeah.
Do you get killed or arrested, or both?
We'll see what happens.
Okay, cool.
We'll start with the arrests,
And see if
depending
they-
on how I feel.
it's a
see what happens.
It's a
Yes.
3-strike
I like it.
system for everyone.
Yes,
As
exactly.
And
If one
the
person gets a
strikes are
strike, everyone gets a
subjective,
strike.
too. You can
Yes.
kind of decide what's a strike and not a strike.
That's
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, cool.
I
like it.
As a third act, if no.
I really
sounded
like.
better in
You
my
can
head.
hear the train out here. Like, there's been a couple trains that have passed by, and I like it in the background.
I'll go with this theme of trains.
Okay.
Everyone is where some countries require people to work in the military. I require everyone to work upon the railroad for 5 years after high school.
All the live long day.
All the live long day.
All the
For
dang
5
live
years.
long dang day.
And then once they're done with their 5 years working on the railroad,
All the live long day.
they have to go to college for a reasonable year.
After they're done with their 5 years
Right.
working on the railroad, all the live long dang day.
All the dang live dong ding dong dang ding dong day.
Smoking joints.
Ding dang old dang college.
Alright, what's your story?
Mine was Dildopia.
That's really good.
And-
Are you neighbors to Dilbyville?
Distant neighbors.
Yeah.
Sister
Across the
cities.
narrow sea.
More like cousin cities. And I said that I would be a Kim Jong-il level dictator.
Eel, like an eel squirming through the water.
Yeah. And so if anyone is better than me at anything, they get thrown in prison.
Oh,
Even
cool.
to the level of like I walk into a restaurant and someone gets their food right at that moment. They got their food before me and they get thrown in jail.
Nice. That sounds fair to me.
My second policy was
I'm not going to either of your dangs.
was that people can't own property, but dogs can.
Nice, I love it.
And I don't remember what my third one was.
I don't either. We talked a lot about
Yeah,
the
we
first
talked a lot
one.
about that one. Yeah.
All right, we have 20 seconds to come up with a new question for the week.
For once, I actually don't have one.
How about we don't have one? Or no, here's one. If you could bottle your own liquor, one, what kind of liquor would it be, and two, what shaped bottle would it be in?
Does this have to reflect ourselves or just something we would like to see in a liquor store?
I have a serious
Anything.
answer and I have a joke answer.
Okay, do it real quick because we're just over an hour now, but I want to hear these answers.
Serious answer is that it would be pineapple ale,
Oh, okay.
and it could have like other flavors within the pineapple ale, and it'd just be in like a bottle that's vaguely shaped like a pineapple.
So it's just kind of bulbous.
It's basically just a bottle, but there's sort of, but where like the round part of the bottle is, it's sort of like a pineapple, and then there's like leaves and
Nice.
Subtle.
around the
Yeah, that's subtle. I like
the
it.
neck. I'm just gonna keep making this motion. The other one is rum chata out of a dick.
Yeah. Ugh, gross.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay.
I'm gonna go with just a not serious answer. It'll be called Big Baby Liquor. The bottles. You ever go through a liquor store and see a bottle and go, "That's too big."
Yes.
It will not be. It's not near big enough.
It will tighten.
Imagine something twice as big, but the shape of a baby.
So it's
I thought you were gonna
shaped
say
like
a baby bottle. Yeah, it's just
It's
a
shaped
baby.
like a baby. Yes. And we'll have different kinds
That's
of
awesome.
liquors. Like
You can.
they're gonna be
measure
clear bottles, and so if it's like a mango flavored drink, he'll just be this really orange looking baby, and it'll be like Big Baby Liquor orange, and then like
or it can be jaundiced.
yeah.
Yeah. Or
I'll just name it lots of different
the different sizes
things.
of bottles can be like preemie,
Yeah.
big ol' baby,
Big old
Big ol'
baby.
baby.
like full child,
Doink old baby.
Large toddler.
right? Torin.
Full grown adult.
Yeah.
A
Hi, Dad.
Yeah.
Hi, Dad. I'm going off to college, Dad.
Bye, Dad. I'm going to college.
It's
I
the
have
size
kids,
of like
Dad.
a 6 foot
Dad, I'm
tall
overweight and I
man.
have kids now, Dad.
Dad, my kids are going to college. I'm getting old.
Yeah, and then there's the like sale version that's the really old liquor. that is now in a slightly
It's not
smaller
old,
bottle.
It's aged.
Aged
Yeah.
liquor.
So I sell it
Where-
twice as much, but
Yeah.
it's the same alcohol.
Bingo.
Yeah, but it's in a slightly smaller, kind of crinkled up.
It comes with a walker.
Yeah.
You drink it out of the walker.
Yeah, it's like a really dumb straw.
All right.
Like a beer bong.
So my liquor
tennis
would
ball.
be it would be vodka or no cherry flavored vodka laced with roofies, and it would be called. It gets better. It would be called Predator, and it's in the shape of a Yautja head.
I like it.
Okay.
I hope you fail, but I like
Yeah.
it.
I thought you were going with the like a frat joke.
Yeah.
I kind of am, but like.
Yeah, it's basically, hey bro, what are you drinking? Well, I'm not drinking this. I'm giving.
But I
my
got
girl.
a Yautja head full of Predator that I'm gonna dump in this girl's drink.
I got a Yautja head full of
Yeah.
Predator.
full of predator. Okay.
I hate
All right.
it.
All right.
Vile.
This has been PDT Podcast. Thank you all for
Thanks for
listening.
joining us.
It's been great.
Austin, thank you.
Yeah, Austin, definitely. Thank
If
you.
you'd like us to talk about your topics, email us the
Email
PDT
us.
podcast at gmail.com. We will talk about what you want to talk about.
Yes, yes.
We'll become the only show on the internet that talks about your topics.
We'll
already
become
are the only
the
podcast on the internet.
internet show that you want.
Us to be.
Yes.
Yes.
Or tweet at us on Twitter. Tag
always-
us in Twitter. I'm gonna start a hashtag right now. PDT.
Yeah. Hashtag PDT. All right. Torrance tweeting it right now.
Yeah. If you go online and you see a news story you like, either tag our podcast, which is PDT Podcast,
Oh wait, I'm not gonna tweet that.
or you can just go underneath and reply with hashtag
Yes.
PDT
Yes,
or
yes.
PDT Podcast. I will find it. We
Yes,
will talk
yes, yes.
about it.
See.
Do that, and this can become your podcast as well as our podcast.
Yes.
I want it to be your podcast.
Yep.
Okay.
It's been fun.
Bye.
It's your podcast.
Doink, doink.
Hey, mama. Meet daddy. It's your nephew.